Heyo, Niiamah Shang here, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. Welcome to the Outliers Edge podcast in the World of Difference season, where we are spending time helping you own what makes you different to make a world of difference right now. And this, when we look at this here, we look at what is it about you, that 1% of you that has been hiding, that 1% of you that could be added and leaned into more, that can go and take something that was a spark and set something ablaze when it comes to the movement you're leading, to the business that you're having, and the impact that you have on the people that you choose to serve. Right. Today, we have an incredible opportunity. We get to spend time with Marlene Hutchinson, who's on a mission that lights me up, that gets I pay attention to my body as we have these conversations. Like, I'm like, if I'm bored, then something's off. And I can only tell you that my heart has been kind of like igniting and sparking throughout this entire conversation. So I am thrilled for you all to meet Marlene. Marlene, thank you so much for saying yes to being here on in this conversation with me.
Sure, happy to be here.
Nice. Well, let's do this. Yeah, I like to give people a chance to speak themselves into the room when they come on. So why don't you share a little bit about you, what you're up to? And I think probably the way that the lens I like to look at this here is tell me about the mission that you're on, why it's important to you, and help us get to know you through the lens of your mission.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, my mission is for everyone in the world to play guitar. I know that's a lofty mission, but I think it's possible. No, I don't think it's possible. I know it's possible. And I really want everyone to play guitar because it's so much fun. When I first learned to play guitar, I could not stop playing because it was so much fun. And I wanted everyone to experience that joy. Playing a musical instrument, and in this case, guitar, is really good for you too. It's therapeutic. It's good for your mind. It's good for your soul. And it's just a great thing for everyone to have in their wheelhouse. And I also want to show people that it doesn't matter what age you are, you can do it. It's not that hard. Play guitar.
I love that there. So let me ask you, when were you struck with the mission? When did you know, oh, I have to go and bring this out to life?
I guess I was struck with the passion for guitar at my first guitar lesson, the first drum, and I was like, oh, I can do this. This is sounding really good. I'm so enjoying making this music. And so, I jokingly say from the first drum, I was hooked. And again, I played everywhere. I kind of had performance ADD. I would play in my kids' classrooms. I was a teacher. I would play in my own classrooms. I played at art festivals. I was just like, I'm going to play for anybody who will listen because I just want to share how great it is to play guitar. Well, I had some people ask me if I would show them how to play. And, I said, well, I've only just started. I'm pretty new, but yeah, if you want me to show you what I learned, I will, and I'll get you started. And that's how the whole, catalyst for bringing me into the realm of teaching guitar happened. And it just grew from there exponentially and in a beautiful way. And I know every time I'm teaching, every time I'm presenting my workshop, I just know I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, which is share guitar.
This is fascinating because I love it's very clear. You're just you know where the passion is here. I think I wanted to slow down just a bit here. So you had the first drum. I want to just get I know what it is. I want to get an idea of the trajectory from strum to to us nice. Being on this. Thank you very much. I love to sing myself. I'm playing the bass guitar. It's been a while since I really picked it up, but I want to get a sense of that trajectory there because I know that the outliers and world shapers that are listening to this here, they get bit by something. They have something where they're like, I can't believe the world can be like this. And I think that there's something that I've found is we've seen something. We've seen a vision of what the world could be. We've had an experience of what the world could be. Oh my goodness. Imagine if everyone could feel what it's like to just play, what would the world look like? Right.
Absolutely.
I'm curious for you. I think I want to just get a quick, almost like a montage of how did that continue to grow from you? So you started out, you strummed, you started to get things, you started playing in your classroom, kids' classrooms, like wherever you could, right? And then at a certain point, it feels like then you kind of talked about like workshops and things like that, but it feels like I can almost see like a person be like, I love to play and going out and playing in that way. But at a certain
Yeah.
point, it seemed like you became like an evangelist for it all in a different capacity. So I would love to talk about like that, especially that transition part. Can you tell me a little bit about when that happened for you and how you stepped into that?
Yeah, sure. That's funny. An evangelist for guitar. I've never thought of it that way, but I suppose I am. So when I learned to play guitar, it was a New Year's resolution, and I was an adult. I had three young kids at the time, and I just really wanted something that was for me. I was teaching school, and I just wanted something for me. And I had played piano and clarinet in my younger years, so I had music background and singing as well. And so I don't know, I just remember how great it felt to make music. And I had at the time always wanted to try learning to play guitar. So again, it was a New Year's resolution. I got a starter guitar, found a group lesson. And again, from that first drum, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is so great. So I would play for like I said, everywhere. And, again, people said, wow, I'd love to learn. It seemed like you picked it up so fast. And so I would teach private lessons and then group lessons, like an after school program at my kids' school. And then it developed from there. And not too long after that, I had a lot of adults say to me, or I shouldn't say a lot, some adults say to me, gosh, I'd really love to learn to play guitar, but I don't think I can commit myself to weekly lessons. I wish there was like something you could do in like a day or quickly. And I'm like, okay. So I took the program that I had developed to teach people to play guitar. And I thought, I wonder if you could do it in one day. And so I created what I call Learn to Play Guitar in a Day. And so did a little R&D, had some, local workshops that I promoted. And my first workshop, I only had 3 people at it. But what was really beautiful about it was that they were getting it. It was happening in a day. And I could see people, I'd show them how to do a chord and strum and then the rhythm. And then we put it to a song and people were doing it. And I'm like, wow, this can really work. And so I developed that to teach it at colleges and universities, like in their extended education and continuing education, and started traveling all over the country to teach my workshop. And then I thought, well, gosh, maybe PBS would be interested because they do like a piano program. And so I filmed the workshop and sent it to PBS and sent it along to the producers, and they were interested. And so they wanted to do the program on PBS. And so it just kept evolving. But, every step of the way, I was really prompted by, I wonder how we can get this out to more people, how more people can learn to play guitar and see that it's not hard to play guitar and that you can get started. I have more people say, oh, you can't learn in a day, or, oh, I'm too old, I can't learn. And it's like, no, I want to dispel all of those myths and really get the word out that you can do this and it's really fun. So hopefully it's your question.
Well, so thank you so much on that, Marlene. Like I'm not gonna lie, like my spirit is like continuing to turn on fire. You have a way of talking about this year. Just to help us like get like a recap of this year, like help us here in like just a couple of sentences to see the recap, because there's certain points I want to point out along this journey that I get really curious about for the standpoint of our outliers and world shapers.
Yeah, sure. So it was a New Year's resolution for me. I found a group lesson, got a starter guitar, loved playing. Like I said, I played everywhere. And then people asked me to show them how to play. So I started a private lesson program. Not too far along after that, I had some people ask me if we could do a one-day program. And I thought, yeah, why not? So I tried it and it worked. And so I began teaching it at colleges and universities and filmed it as a DVD and presented it to PBS, and they liked the idea too. So it just grew and evolved.
this is something that I like as I hear this, I'm like a couple of things. One, it's just like the natural, like the this how it started like almost like a grain of sand, like it's just like it's like I played one time, you know, and
Hmm.
because of that, like all these people are getting experiences to like play the guitar and to like find themselves in different ways through the music here. And I really just want to just like acknowledge you for continuing down that path and just continue to ask the question, how can I get more people to experience this, um so I get curious about some things. I want to play around with it, and the things that I'm thinking about right now relate to there are a few different things. One, I just want to like call out the element of like being led by your mission, right? I really feel that with you, like I feel how the mission is first for you, and how everything else just seems to keep evolving from that mission. So can you speak a little bit to that? Because I feel that generally speaking, I meet people who have like money's the mission, or like, you've been able to really continue to build with first things first. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think everything for business or for personal too really evolves from the word why, WHY. And there, in fact, Simon Sinek wrote a book, Start with Why. And I read in there, and I've heard other, on other sources, but Steve Jobs is a great example. He started Apple not because he wanted to make millions and billions of dollars. He started it because he wanted to figure out a way to take a computer that would fit in a whole room, that was a computer, and make it accessible to the average person and something that they could use. So that was his why. And my why is, why am I doing this? I truly want everyone to learn to play guitar. And so, going from that why, I think, and it even in that book, it says, if your why is to make $1 million, then your why is different, right? You're not doing it to help someone do something and the money will come, right? It's you just want money. And a lot of times, that may not be the best why, because it doesn't drive a need or a develop helping other people. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, like let's keep playing with this here, because I've been finding I think it's something that's important to me at this time right now. And and I'm creating programs and working with my clients around this year, and I want to bring this into context right now. And I think it's important I bring it in now, because I'm like, oh, in the future, there's gonna be something else important to me. So I might not pick this part of this
Sure,
thread up. Right.
sure.
But you talked about like, if the why was just like if the why is about something larger than yourself, and then like the money comes, then like that's a different way than like just having the why being the money up front. Can you like I've been enjoying having conversations right now, looking at choosing to pursue a mission and being driven by a mission, while at the same time making sure that you are still like building a business, building financial vehicles that will sustain the mission going forward. And honestly, like I don't even use the word sustain, not only because like there's like sustainability as like in the larger cause, but like when I look at this here, I'm just like, for people who are mission driven, who are serving something larger than themselves, I don't want them to struggle. I don't want them to just be able to sustain. I want them to be able to thrive. And the reason for me is I'm like, you're giving in the world. And like the more, like what I find is that people who are givers, if they are able to receive and have more funds and have more abundance that they can actually go and use, like they're
Yep.
infinitely creative. They're like able to come up with different programs, or people like, there's no end to the amount of impact that can be done, and it's no longer can I, it's just which one. So or
Right.
like who can I bring in so that we get all, like, what's the best way to like manage all, like it's a very different
Right.
set of questions. So I think it's important to go there, and I love to like hear
Sure.
about like your transition into like, okay, I'm following the why, and I have a business and I have other mechanisms to like continue to support that. We'll love any thoughts that you have around it. Just put it into the pool of information, or like in the pool of
Okay.
sharing, let's call it, and
Yeah.
then like let's see where we go from there.
Well, yeah, that's such a great topic because yes, I do want everyone to play guitar, but I have to put food on the table, right? So, I can't do it as a volunteer basis situation. And I don't think people expect that either. I think people know that, if you want to try or do something or get something, there is a price, right? And, it's like, I don't know, sometimes it feels like a delicate balance, especially when you're being creative, between how much should I charge, or is it okay to charge this or that, or how do I do this? But I've discovered in my journey, and it's taken me a while to figure it out, because this, I mean, I used to say, gosh, if you had told me before I started playing guitar that 10, 20 years from now I'd be teaching it and showing it on PBS and doing this and that, I would have said you're out of your mind. That's never going to happen, right? But it has. And so how has it evolved, um, so that it's a business as well? And that's kind of, you almost have to wear two hats, in my opinion. One is the creative hat, where you're creating content and how people are going to learn, and the other part is the business part. And I don't claim to be a business guru, but I am someone who is not afraid to look for resources and help to guide me through that. And so I began to go to an organization called SCORE, and they're all over the country, and they have retired presidents of companies and things like that, and they'll mentor you and they'll help guide you through business components, or help you get connected with resources that might help you. And they have classes and seminars and things like that. And I can't tell you how helpful that was when I decided that just this went from a hobby and a passion to a business, that it really helped me to, I don't know, organize the business side of it and treat it appropriately as a business. And yes, as I've developed, like, for example, my podcast, as my podcast show has developed, I've been honored and gifted with sponsors in the guitar world. And so that has enabled me to do more with my podcast show, which helps my listeners learn more. So yes, you're right. As these business components come together, it does absolutely allow you to do more with your vision.
Thanks for that, Marlene. I just want to I feel like it's a conversation that even as I think about, like, this is the conversation I'm going to have right now. This is it. Like the components of you're on a mission, you're living the mission, and like you're able to live, and live comfortably, right? And like I think that's as I have more conversations, I'm like, this is it. I want to showcase this part, and that you don't have to give up who you are in order to accomplish that. Even before we got on this call and started hitting record, Marlene, one of the things that really struck me was I had asked you a question just to help us get into the conversation, and you said, like, well, really everything I do comes from my why, comes from my mission, and at that point I knew we were done with all the pre-prep questions. I was like, all right, we're good. We just gotta hit record, but it's like it's that sense of being able to be infinitely creative at the same time, like find different resources and bring it out there. I think that's something that I want to acknowledge you on. I acknowledge you for also getting the support to make that come to life, and to find ways to honor both, like, multiple sides of you, right? The creative and the business in this case. I know that you have different roles and everything, so there's so many different parts of you that are being honored as well. Let's bring this in. Like there's something along these lines that I want to continue in here on. Let's see. So this one here is really along the lines of supporting someone who's like has a movement within them, right? So like in my mind, when I said movement, the word music came in. I'm like I'm sure that you spend time with people who have the music within them, and you help
Yeah,
out. Like, and like honestly, I think you recognize everyone does, and you just help them unlock that.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So I would like to just spend a little time here, really just looking at this and just saying, like, with what you know about music, what you know about guitar, right? If someone is stepping into, if we were to translate some of those lessons to someone stepping in and saying, I'm going to listen to the mission, I'm going to listen to the passion, I'm going to follow the why, and bring out what, like, the thing that drives me, the thing that I think like this world needs or should have or could be better if it did have, right? What's something
Yeah.
that you've learned through guitar, through your experience, that you like to like in part or pass on here?
Well, I think, and this is sort of an analogy of life, but with guitar, you start out with the basics and then you build from there. So in fact, when I'm teaching, I start with the parts of the guitar and how to hold, how to hold your guitar and how to tune it. And then it builds to chords and strumming, and it continues to build. And that's, my podcast is continuing that building process for people to constantly be growing and learning with their guitar playing. But starting with a foundation, the very, very most basic concepts of playing guitar, and building from there is what brings people to having that great enjoyment of playing guitar. And I think you could do that in business. I think you can say it in life too. Like, you have to have a foundation, you have to have the basics, and then you grow from there. And part of the growth is, well, how can I grow? Or what directions do I grow in? Or what do I want to do? Like with my private students, I say, okay, well, what do you want to learn? What do you want to play? All right, if that's what you want to play, this is where we're going to start, and we're going to build to get you there. So whether it's jazz, classical, Eric Clapton, whatever they want to learn, just start with the basic building blocks and go from there.
It's so great hearing you say that, because I just feel like the simplicity in it, and a lot of times we see things on like the advanced level, right? We come in, we're like, oh, I listened to Marlene, this was amazing, she got on PBS, let me try and get a PBS. It's like this is why like I realized, like, we talked about that journey a couple different times, right? And part of it is like I'm like just let's just see like how natural the evolution was, and how it built from, can you play that? Like, the foundations of that. Like, do I know how to play this? And then like you put in a ton of hours. That's what I'm hearing. Like when you talk about all the different, you're like, you remind me, I have a 3-year-old. So like I see the way that he interacts with the world, and he's constantly testing out his understanding of the world.
Sure.
Constantly. And he's like, is this? Is that like, and I'm like, oh, it's still going to take him years to learn this, but he's gotten so many iterations of this along the way that like it's just natural then.
Absolutely. Well, the other thing, I have this, I keep it on my desk, I'll show it to you, but you may have seen this, it's laminated even, so it might shine, but if you can't see it, it's a caricature, a drawing of an iceberg. And so the water line is here, and up above, let's say this is PBS and teaching at colleges and universities and writing books, right? That's that. But down below, which is really the meat of the iceberg, that's where everything happens, and nobody sees that. And there's a lot of things listed on here, but like rejection, getting no's, feeling disappointed, losing sleep. Okay, those are things. Have I had all those? You bet I have. Eating right, being healthy. What are some of the other ones? Good habits, goal-driven, things like that. That's all this here. And that's the secret sauce, I believe, to what people see. I had someone one time, I was leaving a seminar, and we were walking out together, and a gentleman asked me if he could carry my guitar case. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And he's like, wow, you got a lot of stuff. And oh my gosh, he's like, I'm just so impressed. You had so much come to you so easily, and you got things going, and you're so lucky that it came so easy to you. And I was floored, because it's like, Are you kidding? No, none of it's come easy to me. I don't know. I've tripped and fallen and gotten back up, and with tech stuff, that's been a whole learning curve. There's a learning curve, and no, nothing has come easy to me. So if you're watching and you go, oh yeah, she just got right on PBS. No, that didn't just happen. So there are a lot of building blocks to it.
I'm thrilled that we're talking about this, because this is the reality of the situation. I recognize that, like, I like to make sure that's known. And I think, we said earlier, I said, like, one of my key things is like to help you, like, help see you, and like the accolades is one thing, like, but what I got from this is, I'm like, oh, here goes someone who keeps putting one foot in front of the other. Here's someone who, like, allows her mission to, like actually keep taking front stage. And I'm imagining you as someone who, like, is, when you run into an issue, you're able to actually lean back on the strength and the pillar of, like, that huge mission you have, and to, like, be able to have the mission be larger than Marlene, which puts you into
100%.
places in that place. Yeah, tell me, like, it seemed like there's like a connection with what I just said there. Like, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Tell me what's coming to you as I say that.
Well, whenever I have a challenge or a struggle, one of the things that sort of resonates in my mind is, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this, and what do I need to do to move forward and continue? Maybe it's, I run into a roadblock and I have to take a detour. Maybe it's some other path. But for me, it's always like, not this can't be done, but, oh, this isn't working this way. I wonder how I can make it work, or make it work better. Like, constantly reevaluating what worked about this, what didn't work about this in things that I'm doing, and I think honest evaluation of what you're doing is one of the best teachers. Having bloopers or errors, like I tell people in guitar, they're like, oh, I didn't play that right and it doesn't sound right. And I said, well, good, because that means you're getting closer to it sounding right, or closer to it feeling right, or coming together for you. Because the more you keep at it, the more you'll eventually, have that success, or have that aha moment, or whatever it is you're looking for. So it's that stick-to-itiveness, it's that persistence, and realizing that failure sounds like such a bad word, but if you have a blooper, or you have a mistake, or you have an error, or you have a roadblock, that's not the end. That's kind of like the stepping stone to improvement.
Yeah. I'm happy we're talking about it, Marlene. Like, there's these things that these are the things that I feel like underneath everything, because I've spent a lot of time listening to podcasts. I've spent a lot of time, like, watching people and, like, being like, oh, if only I had what they had, and missing out on, like, the reason that they have what they have was because they went down the journey and had the experience. Like, you can't get there until you do it, until you fall, until you have the bloopers, the mistakes, the failures, the upsets, like, all those things. Like, it all comes with it. You have a very positive disposition, and you also have a very, like, really wonderful way of seeing the world, and a mission that is very easy to get on. And I don't think I want to just, like, acknowledge that I see the work that you've done, and I'm only just even getting just, like, the surface level of it. It felt like a blow when I heard you say, like, the person said you were lucky. I'm like, look, like, there's only but so far luck will take you, and something I've been enjoying is, I'm big on volume. I tend to do a lot of things, or sorry, when I do something, I tend to do a lot of it. And someone said, like, volume creates its own luck,
Yeah.
And it's like, and yeah, please.
Well, where I go with that, the saying, luck is when opportunity meets, I have it on my desk. I can't see it right from here,
The preparation. It's just the one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. So have I had some luck? Yes, but there was a lot of work. There was a lot of preparation, networking, whatever it was. I didn't just step into it. There's a lot of work and a lot of preparation to make anything happen. And as you're going along, especially if you're new to doing something, like I was new to the whole copyright world and trademarking and all of that. And, I had to find resources to help me. And I had a one little hiccup that, well, wasn't really little. I mean, it was financially expensive, but, it happens. And what did I learn from that? Okay, so I learned that I needed to have more research or more of professionals looking at things for me. And so, you learn, and it's okay. Gosh, I mean, what do they say? I think the best lessons are when you have those problems or failures or whatever you want to call them. And I don't know, failure seems like such a negative word to me.
I'm good with failures, just so you know. Like for me at this point, I've gotten to a place where like I look for it. I'm like, I know that what I'm going to do. It's like when I think about like playing an instrument, I played a couple of different in my life. Like when I think about like playing the guitar, it's like I know that I'm going to suck at first. That's like it would be unreasonable to think that I just picked it up and I'm like, this is it. I like, it's not that. So it's like, let's go do that. Let's get that out. Let's get that out the way. Let's figure out whatever happens to make that come to life.
Yeah, I think a lot of that goes to perspective or expectation. Like, for example, in my workshops, or if people say you can't learn in a day, and I'm like, well, let's look at that. Like, what is your perspective? Like, if your perspective is, I'm going to learn to play guitar and I'll play like Eric Clapton or Slash or Nancy Wilson at the end of the day, I think that's an unrealistic expectation, right? So at the end of the day in my workshop, and I start my workshop out with saying, let's put the perspective in the realm of what we're doing. And, by the end of the day, you're going to be playing 5 chords, 12 songs, couple different strumming patterns. You'll know how to do finger picking style. So is that playing guitar? In my mind, it is, right? So in my mind, you are playing guitar at the end of the day. So again, if you feel like, oh, if I start to play guitar and in 2 days, I don't play like Eric Clapton, then I can't play guitar. And it's like, but Eric Clapton didn't start and play in 2 days either. It's like, it is a journey. And you have to, I think, also have the patience to persevere and persist if this is truly what you want to do. I mean, maybe you start playing guitar and you go, gosh, I just can't get this or whatever, and then try a different instrument. I mean, maybe I can't believe this, but maybe guitar is not for everybody. But, like, just look at it as like, okay, then maybe it's a different direction that I need to go, not that I can't make music.
There's a lot that's coming in here. It makes me I have so much to say with this, but I really appreciate you, Marlene. And one of the things I appreciate from you is the perspective that you have, the perspective that you bring in. Like, you're incredibly grounded in what you do, and like at the same time you have like a massive thing that you're bringing to the world, right? I know earlier you talked about, you mentioned like you have the workshop, you have like your podcast, you mentioned like you have the colleges, but you also mentioned you had like another branch that you work with, which would be like more like the corporate world and such.
Yeah.
And as I'm hearing you talk, I can I've spent years working in consulting and then in tech afterwards before I started my own thing. And I think about my team right now, and I'm understanding like, oh, I can see like the benefit here, not just in the sense of like what it'd be like to bring people in and have the experience of playing the guitar or things like that, but like the ability to break their beliefs about what they think can be done. Like, as a leader, that's incredibly valuable to me, where I'm like, hey, this can be done. And then and I'm met with like resistance. I'm like, y'all, it's actually possible, So I'm hearing that. I'm hearing the elements of like perspective shifting and what does it actually take to get perspective? Expectation setting. That's really like, I say happiness lives and dies with your expectations,
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and like from what I'm hearing from you, you're like let's come into the room, let's have we didn't need to have the conversation, but let's have not difficult conversation, but an important and meaningful conversation to make sure we are all aiming for the same thing. Like, let me set your
Sure.
expectations properly on this, So, and the other thing I'll say about you is that I one of the things I enjoy about you is that you are able to translate this thing that you're incredibly passionate about to life, to things that are beyond that, beyond just the actual instrument itself, and what comes from it. And I really want to just acknowledge you in your skill set in it, because it feels very approachable. You're getting me to think about different things in new ways, and just like helping to reconnect me, not just with the bass guitar behind me, but like with like just how I think that life could be, and how I want to be living in my mission. So I want to really acknowledge you here on this year. We're going to wrap up our conversation right now, but if anyone is interested in spending more time with you, in saying like, yes, the guitar is where I want to go, if they're saying come to my university, come to my organization, like there's like, let's have a conversation, let's think about this thing together, and let's actually play, what's the best way for them to continue the conversation with you, to be in your world?
Well, so of course you can reach me at Marlene at marlenesmusic.com. I'm also on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm on Instagram, but I don't really do a whole lot there. I might have to have somebody do that, because I found that's not.
My thought is, if someone's mission is everyone should be on Instagram, like go help Marlene out with
go
this
help
here, right?
Marlene. Well, you know what? I know I'm not an expert in everything, and so that's why I try to bring people into my realm that are experts, and they can help me. And as far as you were talking about the corporate workshops, that was something I started right before COVID, and then COVID hit, and so it kind of, evaporated. But my concept with that is like at as a meeting icebreaker, or at retreats, having your employees do this. In fact, one example was a large hospital here in the area where I live, and they were having their annual financial meeting, and the guy's like, it's such minute and somewhat boring stuff, and it would be fun to do something fun and different. And so there were, I think, almost 60 people there, and in an hour I introduced him to guitar, taught him a couple of chords, then broke them into groups, and I tasked them with writing their own songs, and creating a group song. And then they each presented them, and they were hysterical, because there was a lot of inside jokes going on with their lyrics, but they were doing it. And the feedback I got was from the director was, oh my gosh, it was one of the most productive meetings we've ever had. Everyone's mindset was just different, and open. And so it really, it's music brings people together, sort of like dogs and children, right? Music brings people together. And guitar in particular is so great because it's so portable. And so you can play guitar anywhere, anytime. And so having that sort of interesting little nuance or different way of bringing your team together, I found before COVID was a real good sweet spot or secret sauce to meetings and retreats and things like that. So if that's something you're interested in, just reach out to me, and certainly I'd be happy to bring the joy of playing guitar to your team.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you took yet another step forward, and that you lived this out here. We're going to end with this one last question, Marlene. And the question I ask is this: I call it the time capsule question, right? And so, Marlene, you've lived life, you've had your experiences so far, and it's gotten you to this point. You're going to keep going forward, and in the future, like, you may have to be reminded about something that you already know right now. So, what's the message that you would leave for yourself that would be that in the future, it'd be the exact message that you need to hear?
I think the gift that I was given was to share. I was an elementary teacher, a guitar teacher, doing the shows and workshops. In fact, recently I got my yoga certification, and so I teach yoga as well. I think my gift as I look over things is that I'm able to share with people how to do things. And so, down the road, if I get to a point and it's like, why are you doing this? And it's, not just because I want people to play guitar, but yoga or anything else. Why am I doing it? And I think it's the gift that I was given by my higher power, if you will, that I share. And I share whatever I've learned so that other people can benefit from it. And so that's, I guess, what I would want to remind myself.
Well, Marlene, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to you continuing out your mission. I'm looking forward to where things go from here. And just thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing your experience here and really sharing and like your gift to this world. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.